discussion, respect, integrity, truth, science, and discovery. Welcome to my Paranormal Soapbox. Hello, and welcome to my Paranormal Soapbox. I'm your friendly neighborhood ghost hunter, Justin Brown, and I think that we figured out what time this show starts. Usually I'm really good about knowing what time it is, but I spaced off there, so sorry about that. But we're here to talk about ghosts and stuff like that. Actually, we're going to talk about intelligent and residual hauntings and the theories that people develop to explain the behavior of alleged ghost spirits and the like, right? So here we go. We're going to say hi to the girls, make sure they're ready.
Hi, ready? Justin. Yep, I'm ready.
All right, is Jess ready?
Absolutely.
All right. You ready to talk about smart ghosts versus movie ghosts?
Right.
All right. Well, if you guys are new to the show, this is how it works. If you want to ask questions, I advocate that. Please do. But periodically, we'll go through the chat. Missy and Jess will pick out your questions, and they'll read them off, and we'll answer them. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves. Try to engage as much as possible. Start interesting conversations, and let's learn from each other here. Let's talk about the stuff that we like to talk about. Feel free to share the stream, and if you're on YouTube and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It helps us out tremendously. Click that little notification bell to get notified when we upload. And here we go. Okay. There's two main theories to describe the consciousness of ghosts and hauntings. Okay. There's intelligent versus residual. Now, what an intelligent haunting pretty much means is you have an entity or a spirit or a ghost that has a consciousness. It can interact with you. It can communicate with you. It reacts to stimuli in your environment or otherwise. And that is the more rare, I would say. And the reason I say that is most of the time, only people like psychic mediums have an ability to interact with them, easily or more easily than, people who are not. The interactions that people have with entities are crude most of the time. If it's a loved one, that is really, really rare, but that's a little bit different than some of the intelligent hauntings that we're going to talk about. And we can kind of talk about that too, since that would be considered an intelligent entity, but not a haunting. A haunting is something that's a disturbance in the spiritual realm, in my opinion. It's not something that, your loved one's coming to check on you or to give you a sign of their presence or stuff like that. Now, your loved ones can haunt locations, of course. Now, the flip side of this is residual. And the theory behind residual hauntings state that energies and echoes of temporal periods of time can get imprinted and stored in the environment. Stone tape theory suggests that certain materials can pretty much store past events, kind of like on your hard drive on your computer. And you will see an apparition form, walk through a wall, or you'll see some type of visual phenomena or something you hear happen in a loop. It happens at a certain time on a certain day, and it seems like it's just replaying a recording. If you see an apparition, they never make eye contact, they never see you or interact with you. That pretty much defines a residual haunting. So, are those the only two things? Well, maybe, but I like to think that it's a little bit more complex and there could be different things out there. We're going to talk about different possibilities right now before we get to the comments. By the way, if you want to get shouted out before we get into the thick of things, just comment so we can see your name. We'll shout you out. So, based on my experience and the insight of other metaphysicists and paranormal investigators I've spoke to about the subject matter, sometimes, or maybe more than sometimes, residual energies or residual hauntings can interact consciously with the living. My mother told me a story when she was growing up in a farmhouse here outside of Hillsboro, Ohio. Her and her sister would play with these children in her attic. There were little kids the same age as her and her sister was, but they appeared in black and white, which is odd. I don't know if that's normal. Let me know if you've experienced this. And they would just play with them. They would appear, and they would run up to them and just interact with them. And I thought that was interesting because they said that they would sit and watch them play, and they wouldn't know they were there, but when they ran up to them, they started to interact with them. And what is interesting about that is some people may not be able to interact with residual phenomena. I think if you have abilities, you may be able to. And that's strange. If you've ever had an experience where you've interacted with something that seems like it's residual, let me know. Okay? In a lot of cases, they're ghost children that you interact with. There's so many stories out there of people that have reported of playing with children in homes, in businesses, in just buildings. And another thing that's interesting is I believe and experience that one person, after they've deceased or have died, can haunt multiple locations. And that really doesn't correlate with the theory that people have souls and they may have unfinished business and they may linger. But if they can haunt multiple locations, how is that possible? Well, if they leave behind energy in these places that they, once loved or dwelled in, then that would mean that they could be anywhere and everywhere. The whole theory behind superposition in quantum physics states that things can be in multiple places at the same time. So this could mean that whatever a ghost is made out of, or whatever it is, can do the same thing and have the same attributes. Now, if this is true, then that means that the parapsychological viewpoint of people's psychokinetic energy can be projected out of their mind, out of their body, into the environment. And this could happen when you're living. Poltergeist cases, for example, are thought to be caused by PK. So this this can get very complex. It's not just the black and white intelligent haunt versus residual haunt. Certain energies that have never been alive, like the PK manifestations and PK entities, can simulate or develop their own consciousness. And when that happens, I don't know what you can do to understand right now what that could be. We struggle to understand what anything is paranormally when it comes to science. Maybe, hopefully, one day we will. If we keep trying, maybe. So, is this the case? Are we experiencing the dead, the souls of the dead? Or are we experiencing the recorded events of the past? Or are we also experiencing psychokinetic emanations from the living and the dead that dwell in the area in which we live, or, we are? That is a profound idea. What does that mean spiritually? I don't know. I don't know if the parapsychological view on that type of phenomena is something that ties into our spirituality. One way you can look at it is we project positivity or negativity, okay, into the world, onto each other. If we do that into the environment, we can do that into other people. We can do that into the things that we have. So, spiritually speaking, what you emanate and put out into the world and into the environment has an effect on others. As we say, your psychokinetic manifestations can interact with people in the future or the past if you want to reach out that far. So that has spiritual implications. That has some type of consequence tied to it. It has responsibility tied to it. So what you put out there is important. It's necessary for us to be responsible for all these things and to understand them, at least on a spiritual level. A scientific level, we're nowhere near understanding, but a spiritual level means that if we're on Facebook, right, and we're scrolling through, and you're like, oh, gee, that person in my family, I can't stand them, or I can't stand how big they've gotten, or I can't stand their attitude. Every single thought like that negatively gets projected out. It permeates yourself, it changes your vibration, and those vibrations go out and change the environment. Are these perceived as ghosts and other paranormal phenomena? That is the question I pose to you folks tonight. Can they take on their own conscious states? Can your negativity and your stress and your depression and your happiness and your joy too, can they take on their lives of their own? So with that statement, I want you to think about that and let me know what you think about that. And then we'll get back into the whole question, how do you determine intelligent experience versus residual? Okay. So let's go to the girls and do some shout outs, and we'll talk about any or answer any initial questions that are being asked in the chat.
Yes, I'm first. Okay, I have Becky Compton, I have Bill Davis, I have RJ Murphy, I have Jamie Hunt, I have Chief Lynn Paranormal, I have Daniel Everson, Derek Schreiner, Christy Brown, Heather Elliott, Sandy Griffiths. I have Jason Cade. He is new. He is doing homework for Daniel. He is a member of Cherry Capital.
I remember.
Secrets as of today.
I think I remember.
And I've got Josh Bender.
Is he at work still?
I think so.
No, he just walked in. I heard him.
Okay. I was going to say, damn, he must not be too busy.
But I have no initial questions, so.
All right, thanks for joining us.
Okay, we have on YouTube Anaheim, Glenda, Val, Craig Williams, Scotty Fox, Heath Edwards, Joe, Jen, Even Stevens, John Cool, and Debbie. Looks like we have a couple new people ourselves. Anaheim said, wonder where these spirits retreat after manifestations.
Good question. Interesting question. I don't know if it's a retreat. One of the theories that I have is that if spirits dwell on a higher plane of existence than we do, more like a higher spatial dimension. Okay, so think we live in 3D, time is 4D, spiritual is 5D. So they can see us, but we can't see them. That's kind of like saying, this is an example I like to use, and I've seen a lot of people use to explain it. Here, we'll use this. Okay. What is this, Geyer? Yeah, the Geyer Opera House is a two-dimensional representation, okay, We're three-dimensional. We could see the opera house there, but the opera house can't see us. It can see up, it can see down, it can see left, it can see right, but it can't see out. It's only two-dimension. Three-dimensional people can be on the outside looking down on the two-dimensional plane and seeing the Gaia Opera House there. So just think of an entity being five-dimensional and looking down into our plane of existence. Now, that would explain how they can see us and why we can't see them, but why can we see them sometimes? That is the answer, or the question I would ask if this theory is correct. If this theory is correct, then sometimes the fifth dimensional plane and the fourth dimensional plane blend into each other or phase in. Okay? It might oscillate, kind of like a guitar string oscillates when you pluck it. There's a different vibrational phenomena that occurs that causes some fluctuation in the vibrations and mechanics of the planes. And that's, science kind of mixed in with the paranormal there. So that would be how I'd answer that.
Okay. I do have to shout out Scotty's comments. You were discussing about your mother seeing the two kids in black and white. He said his comment was pre-color TV hauntings. Easy solved. Move on. We all love Scotty's sense of humor. I think that is it for right now.
I did see John Cole's state that we needed a longer hour.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about it for longer than an hour, okay. Just if I run out of things to talk about in an hour, maybe you need to help me come up with more things to say about it. But I think I could do it, give or take, in an hour. So yes, please ask questions. Get my brain churning more than it already churns on its own. So what paranormal investigators try to do is determine if there is in fact a haunting, if they believe there's a haunting or there's evidence to suggest that there is it residual or is it intelligent? Well, they ask questions. If the people reporting this phenomena see the entities look at them or interact with their presence, then that right away would suggest that it's intelligent. If they do not, if they kind of like glide down the hall or walk through a wall or walk into a room and don't even notice you, don't interact with you, that's a pretty safe way to know. So once you figure that out, you got to know how to deal with it. Intelligent entities react to stimuli, so you can cleanse them, you can banish them, you can summon them, evoke them. Residual entities and phenomena, you cannot. You can tear down the structure that their energy is trapped in, and that would have an effect if the stone tape theory is in fact right, or somewhat right. I do believe that people's perception of such things are key in the phenomena manifesting. Now, not always. Sometimes two people will be standing there and see something. One person might be sensitive, the other person may have no sensitivities. What could be possible is the one person that has abilities is all it takes for the manifestation to occur optically to the other person that has none. For example, my mother again, she can do something like draw in some kind of energy when she's doing a reading, and you will feel it. When she was at the Monroe house, she was reporting things that she was experiencing, and we were getting some evidence on the recorders of what she was experiencing. So I'm starting to believe that that's the case. A lot of times we can't perceive these things because we're not in tune or connected with whatever is out there on that plane of existence. So the theory is these things exist on other planes. We need to learn how to tap into them. If they do not phase in and out with our existence on a regular basis or under some kind of strange circumstance, then how can we do that? That's probably another show entirely. But I think the cool thing I want to talk about this show is residual. I believe that residual spirits or residual hauntings can be interactive. Why? How? How is that possible? Okay. I don't know, is my short answer. I don't know how, but it seems like the case. There is so many things that I've heard and that I've experienced that would suggest that, but there's really no way to know. I'm not convinced that a lot of the times when we're experiencing hauntings that we can know what it is. We can only believe what it is. We can get, our best ideas. It's Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom used to sit in that chair when he was alive. Every evening, every so often, around 9 p.m., he used to sit down and watch MASH on TV, and you will start to see the chair rock. Maybe you sit down in the chair and it's warm like he was sitting in it prior to you sitting in it. Those type of things would make you think that that's what it is. And I'm fine with that. And that makes sense to me. But these energies that linger around are connected to a consciousness. So it's not a far reach for me to believe that these aspects of what once was a living person can't be interactive and can't, deal with our conscious states. I mean, are they talking about this at all? I mean, what are they thinking? Am I getting them to talk amongst themselves at all about this? I see Craig.
Yeah.
Okay. What are they saying here?
Well, Martin asked a question. He said, "Are you saying that your daily emotions translate to psychic, physical isomorphism?"
Isomorphism. I'm not familiar with that term. I use the term psychokinetics. Parapsychologically speaking, yes, you can manifest things from your emotion. Now, I'm not saying everybody can. I think it's a psychic ability. Okay. I don't think every time you get mad, you create a demon to kick your husband's ass.
Why? I wouldn't be able to do that.
That's probably why you can't do that, because people would abuse that, like you. and we would have a lot of shenanigans on our hand. But I believe a lot of parapsychologists believe that a lot of poltergeist cases and other phenomena are caused by the living.
Okay, and then Becky asked, if we could sense spirits, couldn't they sense our feeling and act accordingly?
Yep. I believe that spirits can communicate telepathically, empathically. Yeah, all that.
And Christy asked, can spirits be both?
Yes. A residual haunting can't be an intelligent haunting, kind of like I was suggesting. So, yes.
They're just goofing off right now, basically.
Okay.
On YouTube, Debbie had a question. So the spirits at the Moreau house were intelligent. What about the spirits trapped in the basement?
She said that they were intelligent. They were interacting with her. They interact with other people. She said once we released them, that their residual energy would still remain there for a long time, because they were in there for a long time. So it's almost like their spirits were haunting that space. So intelligent spirits can create residual hauntings. It's fucked up.
Craig Williams had a question. How come you don't see ghosts with all these cameras like infrared and night vision and full spectrum and thermal cameras?
I believe that most ghosts that people see are not optical. What I mean is, light doesn't bounce off of this ghost and reflect into your eye to your retina can see the reflection of what it's bouncing off of. Mostly all the time. Now, I have seen things that are optical, and you could pick those up on camera. What most people see is not optical. The most optical things that most people see that are the most common are shadow apparitions or shadow masses. They're actually bending the light, or whatever is there is absorbing the light. There's two possibilities for shadow people. They can either absorb the light where it doesn't reflect back to your eye, or when the light is going to your eye, it's being bent away from it like a mirage. So that's why the cameras are seeing them. And like, if you go into someone's home and it's like, I see a little girl at the end of that hallway and she stares at me, you should point a camera down there. No little girl. Happens all the time. Missy says there's a guy at the end of the hall standing there staring at her. Point the camera down there. There's no one there. So you're dealing with a psychic ability most of the time.
Okay. Jen wanted to know, what is time to the dead? Maybe part of them will always be at the Murrow house.
What is time to the dead? Yeah. That's interesting. Let me get into that real quick.
Sure.
Some paranormal phenomena is temporal. Okay. You have 3 spatial planes. You have 1 temporal plane, which is time, and then you have extra spatial planes, which could be spiritual or extra dimensional. Extra temporal planes can exist, especially in physics. There's, infinite temporal planes of different, versions of our universe splitting off. Like, there's a version of Justin Brown out there that's not fat. Okay, he's in shape, he works out, he's in great shape, he looks like he's 25 again. But we cannot access that because that dimension is decohered from ours. That's why we can't interact with it. It's a theory that I have and many others have that these temporal planes of existence can phase in with ours. So let's just say deja vu is a thing. If you have this sensation of deja vu overwhelming you, hey, I've been here before, maybe that's a temporal dimension phasing in with your conscious state for just a moment. That is a possibility. Or you're seeing something that happened in the past phase in temporally with our, present time, and that's responsible for why we're seeing ghosts or images that look like ghosts, because we're looking at a totally different time. So I just thought that would be interesting to bring up.
Okay. John Cool said the living can create a residual haunting too.
Yes.
And Craig Williams asked, do ghosts have the ability to let you see them or not?
That's a good question. I think yes. I think they can manipulate our prime material existence, the 3D plus time, the 4-dimension. They can manipulate things. They can manipulate light by absorbing it or reflecting it, causing a shadow apparition. They can move things telekinesis, kind of like living people can. They can move things with their mind. They can do that. So yeah.
Okay. Heath Edwards asks, is time irrelevant to spirits?
That is a super awesome question, and I wish I knew. Okay. If we're going to get really far out there, and I know Bill Davis is going to appreciate this, if you play Dungeons and Dragons back in the day or currently, there are different dimensional mechanics that involve transitional planes of existence in that game. And that kind of derives from mythology and ancient Eastern ways of thinking and about, different planes. So with that being said, there could be possibly transient planes between the planes of existence that things exist on that are either it's void of time. Now, other spatial dimensions could be void of time, but you need to think about this. Time, the way we understand it, represents this point in time, next point in time, next point in time, next point in time. So anything kinetically has to involve time, motion. involves time. Things that don't involve time are static. They do not change. Any type of spatial change involves time mechanics. So, with that being said, if the spirit realm doesn't involve spatial mechanics, then it could be void of temporal mechanics as well. So, if that's true, that all goes out the window. So, hopefully that... Do you guys understand that? Hopefully you do. So, what that could mean is they can access all points of time in our dimension, but exist in a plane that there's no time. It's possible. That's a really good question. No one knows that. No one knows. No one knows.
I think that was it. Jen actually did ask, how old is Justin? She was wondering when you mentioned 25 again.
I will be 40 in April.
I was right. And that's it for right now.
Do I look younger than that?
I don't know. I mean, I told her that you were 30. I believe I thought you were 39. You were going to be 40 in April. I said 39 or 40.
I hope it's because she thought I was younger than 40.
Well, we'll go with that since she's not,
Yeah, we'll go with that. All right. Are we clear on Facebook, Missy?
No, I do have a few questions.
Okay.
I think Becky asked, did you have abilities like your mom when you were young?
No. Well, I don't know. I did hear things, but I thought I was just hearing crap. I remember hearing things a lot, like being clairaudient. I would hear voices. Sometimes they would be really overwhelming and I'd have to, phase them out. I didn't see ghosts, okay? I heard some things sometimes. What I have always done is felt things very sensitively. And I thought that I was just, sensitive to emotion. Now that I know what I know now, I believe that I do have empathic abilities. A lot of psychics use empathic abilities to do what psychics do, but they have to do it in a more indirect way. Now, if I would go to a location and try to read the location, I would have to do it. I would have to rely on things that were imprinted in the environment. Okay? Sometimes, like, I could take Missy. Missy can come with me. She may know something about the location. She may be thinking about what she knows, and I can pick up on that empathically and then tell and report back. But, like, conversations with my mother, she would ask me, hey, can you tell the intent? Do you know what it looks like? I don't see anything. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't possibly develop that, but I don't know if I could. I'm going to try. But my efforts in trying to do everything scientifically are going to impede that for me. So what you're going to see in 2019 is me trying to put away a lot of the gear, a lot of the cameras, and have people help me with that. And I'm going to explore more metaphysical things with myself and some of the others in the group. So just stand by with that because it could be interesting to watch.
And then I had one more question. Jack Brewer wants to know, he said, do you think ghosts and spirits are the same thing?
Oh, that's a really good question. I linked an article in United Paranormal Society that asked that question and broke it down. Yes and no, depending on who you ask. I think it's semantics, but if you go back in the old days where people, church people would say the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, they used to say that, and that used to be the thing to say. But once the church started realizing that ghosts were associated with spooky things and paranormal things, they switched it to spirit. So in that instance, the definition of ghost changed. culturally. So our ideas are injected into the definitions and the words that we use, but it doesn't really change it, just our perception. So yes and no. Ghosts and spirits can be the same if you think they're the same and believe that they're the same. If you think that they're different, then they're different. We give meaning to these words. Whether, they are different or the same or not. Personally, I believe that ghosts are the manifestation of spirit, energy. A ghost can be seen. A spirit could be invisible. We could sense a spirit. We could talk to something that's not physically there. But there's a lot of parts of the definition of ghosts being visually present. So I will throw that out there too.
Okay. And Jamie Hunt asked, if time is irrelevant, why do residual hauntings take place in the same times every day?
That's a cool question. Time is seemingly not irrelevant to residual phenomena. Time seems to be very relevant, but that would say something about residual hauntings or residual phenomena. If spirits exist in a plane with no time, then that wouldn't be what we're dealing with. But since spirits come to our dimension when there is time, they have to obey our laws while they're here. So, when you think about this, think about it in terms of physics itself. If spirits are here, spirit is next to me right now, and manifesting and present in our dimension, it has to abide by the laws of physics, and time deals with that. So it has to be temporal in that state. Does that answer your question, Jamie? I hope it does, because this stuff is getting very theoretical, which we can't escape that.
I have one more.
Okay.
Heather wants to know, she said, can metal absorb and store energies as far as the stone tape theory goes?
As far as the stone tape theory goes, I haven't heard of any claims, but I think anything can absorb those type of energies. Say a sword is made out of metals, which are made out of stone and crystallized things. So metal is a different state of matter that derives from stone. So I think it could. I think that, a book can. It's made out of trees, material from trees and other things, skins. So I do think so. I do think that stone tape theory is just trying to, talk about limestone and wood and stuff like that. I can't know for sure, because it's just some kind of theory that we pull out our head. When it comes to actually investigating and finding evidence of these things, we don't have the ability to know these things based on the resources that we have. If you do research on trying to figure out if stone tape theory is legit, please tell me how you're doing it. Okay, because I would like to replicate it.
Okay, I have 2 questions if you want me to read them off.
Let's do it. That's why we're here.
Okay. Heath wanted to know, can an intelligent haunting be a residual haunting?
Can an intelligent haunting be a residual haunting? Why not? If something has unfinished business and it's there in spirit like we think it is, and it can interact with us, it can get stuck in a state that loops over and over. Okay? People who have or spirits who have problems crossing over will get stuck in a death state or some type of emotional state that won't allow them to resolve their issue. They don't want to let go of a house that they love. They don't want to leave their loved ones. If, you know, they can't, if they committed suicide and they can't face up to what they've done, then they can imprint their conscious energies onto a location and splinter off in different aspects that creates other phenomena that can be highly complex. So if we have psychic abilities while we're alive, and then our souls have psychic abilities while they're not alive, then that would suggest that they can emanate residual psychokinetic features into the environment that can cause residual effects. In theory, all of it's theory. So, possibly.
Okay. Craig Williams wanted to know, is it true or just a myth that most hauntings happen at 3 a.m. in the morning, or can hauntings happen at any time?
Hauntings can happen at any time. Absolutely. It is a very debated topic in the paranormal field that 3 a.m. is, you know, the most active time. We are not supposed to be nocturnal creatures. We're supposed to have some type of rhythm while we're, you know, when it's light out, we're awake. When it's dark, we sleep. But that's not always been the case. Those rhythms can be, interrupted. But if you have a religious background, your 3 a.m. is the reverse of what they believe when Christ was crucified. So if Christ was crucified at 3 p.m., if something evil out there that wanted to mock the Holy Trinity, and it would manifest things at 3 a.m. That's the theory. Devil's hour. Or if you look at it, the witching hour. A lot of witchcraft and spells take place during that time. There is power in the number 3. But if you want to get into the other side of the debate, there's different time zones all over the world. If something's happening here at 3 a.m., it wouldn't be happening in China. So, honestly, I don't think so. What are you laughing at? What's so funny?
Heath Edwards' question. He says, Justin, if you could be haunted by a ghost, who would it be and why? Good question.
My dad.
Yeah.
My dad. Because the reason why is because I miss him. He died young, and I want to talk to him again.
Craig wanted to know, is there a place that a ghost cannot go?
God, is this all subject? Now they want to know all what I think about it. I don't know. I don't know. There's no way for me to know. A place where a ghost can't go. I would say a ghost can go anywhere we can go, plus more places than we can go. That's what I think about that.
It looks like HSFL Paranormal has joined.
I think they subscribed.
Okay.
I think we had a subscriber during the middle of the show.
Okay.
So thank you for that, if that was you.
Absolutely. I think that's it. They said if it's haunted during the night, it's haunted during the day as well.
Yes. Now, I will say that we do notice subtle things like quiet voices more during the nighttime than daytime because it's quieter. Our brain is busy during the day. We get a lot of things distracting us. So when we're in a relaxed state, watching our TV at the end of the night with the remote, we're going to perceive these little subtle things that are harder to perceive during the day. Yes, HSFL Paranormal. Yep, I'm on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. I'm trying to spread the disease, brother or sister. I don't know, or guy or girl. I'm trying to read what you're laughing at.
Heath.
Heath?
Yeah.
Ghost can't go number 2.
They're doing these one lines, and I start busting up laughing the whole show. Debbie actually wanted to know what is your thoughts on attachments, if you want to. touch base on that real quick?
We did have a show on that, so I will answer your question. But if you want to know what I think about attachments for an hour long, go watch. Here, I'll look up what episode it is while I'm talking about it. Attachments are tricky. Go ahead.
HSFL Paranormal is an investigator from California.
Awesome. We're getting a few people. Anaheim Nocturnal is from California. And that's awesome. Okay.
Craig wanted to know also, well, after that one, there's a question from Craig.
Attachments are interesting. I think if people are sensitive, but they don't protect themselves in certain ways, that it can cause problems. I think people can have benign attachments that can affect them psychologically, sometimes physically. There's all different types of attachments. If there's one in particular you want me to talk about, I will. But I think attachments are definitely possible and they definitely exist.
Okay. You want me to read Craig's?
Yeah.
Okay. Why would a ghost want to interact with us?
Why would a ghost want to interact with us? Well, why do you want to interact with me? To get information, to connect. Ghosts were people once. Essentially, they still are. So they're just wanting to do what they were doing when they were living. They have questions. They want answers. They miss you. They like you. Maybe they don't like you. Maybe they want to turn your day into a bad one. Same reason why we talk to each other. Trying to find. We've done so many episodes. Trying to find which episode. Oh, well, Becky, you could search the video list on on my blog page or on YouTube. There's a playlist, and attachments is spirit attachment episode 28. Found it. Episode 28.
Well, Christy has a question if you want me to ask it.
No. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh.
She said, what would you call this? A day a spirit comes to you, and at first it looks like yourself, and then it looks like someone you know of really well that has passed. What would you say to this?
Okay, at first it looks like her,
Hmm?
and then it turns into someone she knew in the past.
Yeah.
I would be very skeptical of that. If they're changing forms, I would be skeptical about whatever form it changed into, about it being what it's presenting itself to be. I don't know. That sounds like some crazy stuff. Has she experienced something like that? I don't remember her telling me anything like that.
Has a demon ever whispered, pull my finger in an investigation before?
Can't say that.
Heather Elliott said that spirits can't go in the bathroom, or at least that's what she likes to think.
Well, Heather, I'm sorry, but spirits can't go in the bathroom. They like to go in the tub and hide behind the shower curtain and wait for people to come in and scare you when you're not expecting it.
And Christy said, I didn't, Dad did.
That's interesting. Wow. Christy, I think that your dad has abilities. I mean, we've talked about Christy's dad before. He sees all kinds of stuff down at his house. We've investigated his house for years. My mom came down and checked it out, and she said, yeah, there's a river, a highway of spiritual energy just going right through that house. So that's where spirits travel through. Now, I think Ron could be manifesting things from him, and those things can be morphing. That could be it. Or it could be something coming to him and taking on different forms. Why they would do that, I don't know.
And that's all I have for right now.
I like the questions and the interaction. Pretty cool. Let's see. Are we clear on YouTube? Val has a question, huh? Doppelganger. Oh.
Yeah, there was. Yeah. I have actually a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Since this is going so well, maybe one soapbox you just need to do like a wild card, and just what everybody's talking about, you answer.
I thought about doing that.
Yeah.
I also want to do what the patrons want me to do.
Oh, absolutely.
I threw it out there. I was like, hey, if you guys want me to do a show about something in particular, let me know and I'll do it. But they haven't yet that I know of. So patrons that are in the chat right now, message me or email me and let me know what you want me to do. And if you want me to talk about crap longer than an hour, I will do whatever you want me to do.
Well, the middle part of this chat, especially on Facebook, was about cereal. So,
cereal.
Daniel said Justin is a teacher and he's going to send us all in the hall. We're the ones throwing paper wads and spitballs.
Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was reading Derek's comment. He said, Heather, Justin will say some shit that will give you nightmares if he knows how to get to you. No, I won't. Don't you tell them that, Derek. I don't do that. I only do that to my kids. Not to the adults.
And Josh tries to brag your kids to put Legos underneath your feet when you get out of bed.
Braylon tried and failed multiple times. And I told him when I do step on a Lego, I'm going to beat his ass. And I'm going to say, it's Josh Bender's fault. So
it's not his fault.
your ass is being blistered and pummeled right now because of Josh Bender, not because of me.
But then he gets candy out of Josh Bender, so which is worse.
Yeah, you just got your ass beat for candy. I hope it was worth it.
Val wanted to know the Weeping Woman. Would she be residual or intelligence? Do you know who she's talking about?
Well, I've heard stories of weeping women. There's not just one.
Okay, well, she did say a name. It's Lerona.
Jen said that, or Val?
Val.
Lerona.
Pick one.
Lerona. I'm trying. I had to work on that. Weeping woman. Yes. A lot of those things that you see, crybaby bridge legends where you hear the baby cry, weeping women. Yes, those would be classified as residual. New Mexico.
Yes.
Mexico. If you go to New Mexico and go down 1,000 feet, there is a cave that has the largest selenite crystals found. I want to go to that cave.
I know. I saw you. Was that the picture that you posted up underneath that one? Yeah.
Josh, I told him I'd give him candy if he set Legos on the floors so Justin would step on them. He got out of bed. I always look at the floor before I get out of the bed.
So now we have to change it up.
Blindfold me.
He could just make a line outside of the bedroom door, like, a line of little clear Legos.
You just put it underneath your office desk.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get me, put them out in the living room at night when we usually don't have a light in there if we're not in there, or if we're watching TV, we don't put a light on. And when I walk through there, I don't look where I'm stepping all the time. We have a carpet on top of our regular carpet. And that's where I step on the fucking things. So,
and your feet are really, really sensitive, aren't they?
Yeah. They are. It's not even cool either, because I could just barely bump it and it hurts really bad. I don't know why.
I can see now Josh is coming in soon over to your house. I can see him with a pocket full of Legos and talking to Braylon, whispering to Braylon. They're going to plot something against you.
Craig asks if a ghost has ever seriously hurt or attacked me in any way. No. I've had one try, and it did not work. Back years ago, like 6 years ago, I was working on a missing body case, and there was a murder that happened that they couldn't find her body, and I was trying to find the body via ITC, and the person who was charged for the murder was this huge occultist Satanist guy. And it was weird that when we would get closer to where the voices on our devices was telling us to go, bad things would happen to us. And when something really bad happened to the guy I was doing this with, that same night, something psychically attacked me. It was trying to make me see bad stuff, like hallucinate. And I realized right away that it was making me hallucinate, so I just immediately shut it off. Like, I have that ability to do that. And I guess it didn't know that. So one time I was investigating an old farmhouse in Cayuga, Indiana called Willow's Weep. And I was doing some B-roll under the willow tree where there's this entity attached to it that would cause people to get hurt or get attacked if they desecrated the tree. Well, they don't even like it if you're near the tree. So I'm shooting through the branches, getting the front door because it looks cool and creepy. If you want to see that episode where that happens, you go to YouTube on my channel and search Willow's Weep, Darkness Grows on Trees. And I have a camera rig here, and it grabs my camera rig where my shoulder is and pulls me hard like this. And you'll see the camera just immediately go up when it pulls me. And that's the only time I've been touched. But not hurt. Trying to read here. You need ice breathing backpacks that go into those caves. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's super hot. I think they said it's almost 110 degrees, the surface temp of those crystals.
Wow.
And the humidity is so high that it can't evaporate, and you essentially drown in your lungs. There's so much fluid in your lungs, you just drown in there. All right, well, it's 9 o'clock. Hopefully, I answered all your... what's up, Jay? I see you on there. And of that...
There is...
Go ahead.
One more.
Okay.
Can we do one more?
Oh, yeah.
Anaheim asks, is it true that spirits can draw energy off of an individual?
Yes. Yeah, energy vampires, living and dead, they both exist. A lot of times, it feels like it's sucking your life force, but really what it's doing is a psychic attack on you. You ever have people around you that stress you out so much that you feel drained? Well, that's an indirect effect from them psychically draining you. And it feels like it's draining the actual life force away, but it's just indirectly doing that because, you know, it's doing it psychologically. So there you go. Anything else that I didn't see?
They're just talking about Zach Bagans and him yelling that the demon grabbed his ass, bro.
Did somebody touch me?
Heath Edwards says we need another hour.
Well, I'll tell you what, I would tonight, but I really can't. I've been sick. I'm almost over it. When I go to talking for a long time, my ears start to ache. My throat starts to hurt. So, tomorrow night, we're going to have Necromancer with Jason Snyder. If you want me to do a 2-hour open mic night next Tuesday, type a 1 in the chat. Type a 1 if you want me just to go on here and just answer your random questions for 2 hours straight. I could do that because I don't have to concentrate on just one topic. And I'll just go off of what you're saying. If you want to turn the show into Comedy Central, I don't care. As long as you guys are having fun.
Josh Bender said 1. Derek Schreiner said 1.
I'm not seeing them come in yet. 1. Okay, I'm seeing Jessica.
Said 1. He said one.
I want to see type 1. The
There's
number
Val.
1. Type the number 1 if you want me to do it.
Val
Jeff,
said,
we'll just
Val.
let Josh and Derek take over next week.
right. Val, Jen, Debbie. We're getting there.
Yeah, what I'm afraid of, if we get too stupid, someone new will come on the show and be like, what the fuck is this show? These guys just jump on here and act like jackasses. They're not serious about the paranormal. Derek put 2.
Scotty said 2. Joe Vitale said 1. Val has a whole line of 1s. Everybody on this side saying 1.
All right. Well, I guess we've already voted for the next topic.
Scotty also said 3.
What's 2 and 3?
I don't know. Now he's just said 7.
If you're going to put multiple numbers, you have to come up with what those numbers are, guys.
Right.
Do it right. All right. You guys are just spamming me now. All right. Thanks, girls. I'm going to wrap this up. Okay. So hopefully we talked about my ideas on what intelligent hauntings are, what residual hauntings are, the in-betweens, and kind of the dual nature of what residual hauntings can be. It gets complex. I think the paranormal is way more complex than people like to define it is. And I like to thank you guys for joining me again. Each and every week, you guys come and, onto Facebook and onto YouTube to listen to me and talk amongst, each other and have fun and kick back for an hour. I mean, it's freaking awesome. I think so. So thank you for joining me tonight. It means a lot to me. Let's see if we can turn the overlays off for a second. Okay. Website right there, interfacedeath.net. If you want to see all our paranormal work that we do in the field, links to all of our social media accounts, everything that we do under the paranormal umbrella can be found there. Subscribe to the channel, and you'll get newsletters and emails updated on all the stuff that we do. We got all kinds of stuff going on. I just released a newsletter for February. We just disclosed the first 4 locations we're going to be investigating this year. Go check it out. If you're watching on YouTube, you can follow this show in my blog page at Justin Brown Paranormal Research on Facebook. You can follow Interface Death on Twitter, on Instagram. Check out patreon.com/support Interface Death. We'll elaborate more on that in a minute. And subscribe. If you're on Facebook, please go to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The links are in the video description. Patreon makes this show and everything that we put out there possible. Clay Borman, RJ Murphy, Scotty Fox, Casey Schreiner, Jessica Bias, Bill Davis, Joe Vitale, Heather Elliott, General Rogue, and Craig Williams. Thank you very much. If you want to go support what we do, help keep this content here to stay and get better, help us afford more things for video production and live production, please go there. You get rewards for the stuff that, depending on how much you pledge each month. Go check it out. It's worth your time, guys. So there you have it. Thanks, guys, for joining me. It's been awesome. Really good show. Tomorrow night, we're going to be talking to Jason Snyder on Necromancer on Interface Death YouTube channel and the Necromancer Live Show Facebook page. And next Monday, we have the Symposium show. I did line up a skeptic, so we do have the 3-panel filled. I don't know how much more I can find skeptics to do the show. We might change around that. So you guys have been great. I'm going to leave it there. See you tomorrow night. If you're new to the channel, we have really kick-ass video promotions of the stuff we're doing on the video end. So if you want to see our video content and other cool advertisements, stick around for that. Until next time, I bid you farewell. Do you have that drive? That morbid curiosity to explore the darkness? have what it takes to brave the night? You do? Good.
Dead light. For those who aren't afraid to see what lurks in the night.
Are you in this room over here? What the fuck, dude?
Whoa.
That's weird.
You didn't do anything, right?
No, I just turned.
Justin too close.
No,
No, he opened that door and it went off.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you just run out of there?
down there? Not afraid. We know what it feels like to walk in the darkness.
Side effects of prolonged isolation, paranoia, depression, helplessness, brain stimuli decreases. Now, what happens when you put a man isolated in 3 paranormal infested buildings for 3 nights in each location, all by himself? No one to help me. No one to protect me. Just me versus you. Does paranormal activity increase?
So what do you think of this piece of evidence?
I think by far it's the best piece of evidence we have seen here.
That's flat out amazing. And that's something we've never captured.
Oh, wow.
What? Nobody has ever got it on video.
That's creepy.
In 11 years.
So no one's ever caught this on video?
Never.
Ever.
Here is my story, and here is what I went through for my research into the paranormal.